Hello everyone. Today I just want to spend a few minutes talking about a few reasons that Black families should homeschool their children. So as I stated last week, I talked about a little about some of the reasons why, but I just want to get into just really just a few that really were important to me on my and our family's homeschool journey. So the first reason I believe that Black families should choose to homeschool their children is, number one, is peace. To preserve the peace in your home. I don't know about you, but I have just heard so many horror stories of as far as what goes on in today's classrooms in America. And when your child is exposed to that, that really exposes the spirit of that child to negative circumstances or behaviors or events that may go on in that classroom setting or in that school. And then they bring that home, whether they realize it or not. And then you as the parent have to deal with, in a sense, it just reminds me of, when a person is out in the field doing something and they have to go back in like a spy or something, and they have to, I forget what that word is, but anyway, or be deprogrammed almost. These days it's almost as if when our children are in these public school settings and they come home, they have to be reprogrammed to not to take on some of the behaviors and the attitudes that exist in public schools oftentimes they're negative. So I believe, for us and our family, just having peace in our home was very important. And, it was about education. The homeschool environment can be set up in such a way where, it's about the education. It's about learning. It's not about a lot of the other nonsense that goes on in public schools and even private schools that a child has to grapple with and bring that home. And then you as the parent have to deal with that. Number two, the second reason I believe that Black families should choose to homeschool is because you can take control of your child's or children's educational journey. Take control of your child's or children's educational journey. You can choose which books that you want your child to study from. You can choose how to teach history to your child. You can choose, what you want your child to learn. And your child can, if they have a particular interest or a love and a passion for something that they would not normally be exposed to in a public school setting or even a private school setting because of the structure, that child can explore that. And so that is a beautiful thing to see a child have a passion or desire. Maybe they have a passion or desire for photography. Maybe they have a passion or desire for math. Maybe they have a passion or desire for science. And they can keep studying that. You can get curriculums that would really enrich and nurture that passion and desire, their interests, what their individual interests are. Because our children are uniquely made, and all of them have different gifts and talents and abilities. And so when a child is at home, you as that parent can say, okay, if you're interested in that, go for it. Study as much of that as you want to. Yes, we still need to do the math, the reading and writing, the core, but your child can just have a ball, just really, studying what ignites a passion for learning in their soul. Number three, to protect your child or children from incompetent or ineffective teachers. Hear me out. I'm not slamming the good teachers. As I said in my previous video, I believe there are plenty of good teachers in these classrooms, but they do not have the support that they need to really make as positive an impact on the children today as they used to have. And there are too many teachers in our classroom now, and it's scary now with what is going on in America right now with the teacher shortage and all the teachers, a lot of good teachers fleeing the classrooms because they're not being supported the way they should be, and they're dealing with behavioral issues that they never should have to deal with. Parents have the job. Parents should raise their children. It is not the teacher's job to raise our children. It's the parents' job. And oftentimes, because the parents are failing to raise, teach, and discipline their children, the children go to school and they act out and they display all kind of rude, violent, despicable behavior, and the teachers they're just sick of it and they've had enough. So you get to protect your child from, I feel like I strayed a little bit, but back to the incompetent or ineffective teachers, because there are a lot of teachers in the classrooms that don't belong there, and they're there just to collect a paycheck. And especially now, because there's such a severe shortage of teachers in the classrooms, I believe that that's going to happen even more. There are going to be people in the classroom that really just want a job, and they don't have a love and a passion for teaching. And you get to protect your child or your children from that. Number 4, to protect them from bullies. I am so tired of hearing the bully stories, you know. And, you know, when I was a young child, I was bullied. I remember that. But today, it's like bullying to the 9th degree these days. And the bullying has changed. It's evolved. And it's meaner. And so you get to protect your child or your children from unnecessary bullying. Not just here recently, this year, I read a sad story of a man whose 12-year-old child, I believe that child was 12 years old, killed himself. The child committed suicide because that child was being bullied. And that father, you know, kept talking to the administration and kept talking to the people that he thought had the power and authority to protect his child, and they did not. And the child was crying. In this article I read, the father said the child did not want to go to school. He begged, "Daddy, please don't make me go." And the dad, you know, I don't know the father, but I feel sorry for the dad, and I wish that he had enough strength to say, "Okay, I'm taking you out of there until this is resolved," or just to do something differently. And that child would probably still be with us today. And it's really a sad situation that bullying has gotten so intense and so mean that a child would decide to take their life. So you get to protect your child from bullying. And, you know, when you choose to homeschool your children, you get to protect them from that, because that should not be a thing in our educational environment at all. Number 5, you get to protect your child's passion and desire for learning. You know, so many times we have children that go to classrooms and they want to learn. So many children want to learn, but there are so many children that are packed inside these classrooms today with one single teacher. And that one single teacher cannot teach effectively because many times they have to deal with behaviors, unnecessary behaviors. Children acting out, children being rude, children run out of the classroom. There's a lot going on. And so when that happens, then the teacher cannot focus on teaching. So and then the children that are really there and really want to learn, they cannot. And so eventually that flame and that desire for learning just gets smaller and smaller, and eventually just sizzles out. So I believe that's another advantage to homeschooling your children, is that you get to protect their passion and their desire for learning. You also get to protect your child from classroom violence. Let's not act like it doesn't go on in the classrooms. You know, children stabbing each other with pencils, children attacking teachers, children fighting. It's a lot, and it's unnecessary, and it's really sad. And again, it goes back to poor parenting. Yeah, I said it, poor parenting and lack of discipline, when a child can go to a classroom setting and feel like that is okay. And so, you know, like I said before in my previous video, our children were not exposed to that, and I thank God for that. Number 7, to protect them from being robbed of their education. And this ties in with what I just said about the behavior issues in the classroom. When a teacher has to constantly stop and deal with negative behavior in the classroom, then the children that are there that want to learn, they are being have been robbed of getting that education that they should be able to get. So these are just some of the reasons that I believe that Black homeschool families should really do all that they can to homeschool their children. If your child Again, if your child is not thriving in the educational environment of a public school or even a private school, take them out and do all you can to help them reignite their love for learning.